Sanchez. Today is Friday. We're gonna head to the office first, and then we're gonna set up the open houses. Today we got a client visit and a appointment. Part of providing great service, you have to have an appointment with a buyer before you show any homes, before you do anything. Always have an appointment person and see if you can work together. So that's a mutual agreement. That way he can refer you in the future and he see you how you work as a professional. You want to show that you have your process, you understand your knowledge, and you have good business relationship and good communication and all the other skills like negotiation, mindset. That way they can show you that you're different compared to the others in the business. One 51, whatever the address. There's not no email though. I want to make sure that. Yeah, they
Don't think that they got back to me. But generally, we can take that as an okay.
Okay.
Unless they say no. When I get permission at the beginning of the week, I get permission for the whole week. I'll tell them if I have somebody that signed up. Good morning, Julie. I will let you know, and then you need to let me know if there are any problems with it, and you're good to go.
Appreciate it.
Yep.
Dun, 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 dun. Yeah. Huh? Yeah, man. What you mean?
Huh? I just haven't seen you like at the sales.
Nah, good, man. Yeah.
Yeah. But how have I been?
Yeah.
Good. Good. Good.
All right.
What about your kids?
Kid's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Chloe, she's good. She's 4.5 months now.
Oh, there you go, man.
Yeah. She started watching. I gotta show you.
Oh, okay.
Check this out, dude. She started making.
Because everything's here. Like.
It really is.
Yeah. It's not about, you know.
That's what I'm finding. And then it's also like how you're communicating.
Yeah.
And for me, also demonstrating my value. I found is my weak point.
Yeah, I think it's like some people, they don't like articulate the value so much.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I was one of my big.
What's up?
That's all right, man.
Yeah.
How's it going?
Not much,
How
man.
you doing?
Pretty good.
Good.
Yeah.
What's
This is the new POV mode, man.
day in the life
yeah.
of
Oh,
a
yeah.
realtor?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I love it. I love it.
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
man. You
Take
post
cues
account.
from you.
Yeah.
Nice,
I
dude.
post my door knocking. I'm over there. Yeah.
Okay.
That way they can see all the shit that we go through.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, that's awesome.
Okay, so Julie
I-
Deliver. And Julie, what's your
am-
last name? Sorry.
Hey, Matt.
Okay, so I already heard a couple of people say this, so I'll clarify a few things before we get going. First off, if you guys have done this before and you've learned this in a different system, that's fine. There's a million of these. There's DISC, there's Myers-Briggs, there's about a 4,000 other variations of this. This one I like for two reasons. A, it is used in a lot of different applications that I think are more important. That's kind of how I learned it. And B, it focuses primarily on motivation for behavior as opposed to behavior. I think that's a big thing to understand is a lot of people view actions or personality types based on behavior, and that's a really, really bad idea. Because a lot of people learn what I would call masking techniques, either intentionally or just through life experience. And if I focus on their behavior, I'm probably missing out on what's driving that behavior. So I'm going to say good and bad things about all of these different personality types. So don't take it personally. So here's why this is important. 85% of people fired is because of relationship issues, not necessarily because they were doing a bad job, but just because there was some form of communication breakdown. And that's pretty much going to be the same with our clients. How many of you guys have ever met somebody that did nothing wrong, but you just didn't like them? Probably everybody. Okay. Basically, that's a personality clash, and that person's probably unaware of how they come off to other people. And that's a big thing that we want to kind of understand. So when we go through this, we'll talk about how to deal with this in clients and everything. But I think a big thing to think about too, what is my personality? How do I come off to people? And how do they interpret what I'm doing? Right? If I showed you a picture of something and said, what is this? In your mind, what's more important? What it actually is or what you think it is?
What actually it is?
In your mind, it's what you think it is. Right? This is going back to your social media thing. This is why you can put something on social media and two different people have totally different reactions. The thing in and of itself has not changed. It's my perception of it. And that's the most important thing, is we need to understand people's perceptions and put things in a way that they can perceive them the way that we're hoping that they're intended. That's the idea. Okay? So, how do people decide? So we're in sales, but we don't sell homes. We sell ourselves. And the way that we sell ourselves is through connection and trust. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of that starts on very basic levels. So much the words we use, but how we say them, body language, how we approach people, how we respond to them. So we want to try to connect to people on their channel. And then the first thing that we got to do is understand how the world perceives us, the good and the bad. So here's our 4 basic personality types. And again, this is just for this, but I like it because it also equates to ninja. So in the color code, we have red, blue, white, and yellow, which would equate to power, perfection, peace, and party. So I like what Ninja says about this, but this is the better way to determine these, because some of the Ninja test, which is probably what somebody was referring to with Just thing, is behavior driven. Does that make sense? So don't worry about behavior driven things. We want to try to figure out our core driven. And that's what this is based on. 90% of our thinking, our perceptions are built, is based on our motivations, not the actual behavior that we're doing. Does that make sense? So that's what we're focusing on. And that's important for real estate because, again, this is why I say behavior. If I'm really relaxed, I could appear to be anything. If you're stressed, you will always default to that core thing, right?
Oh, okay.
Real estate is stressful, whether we'd like to admit it or not, right? For most people, buying or selling a house sounds like fun. When they're actually in it, it's super stressful, right? They have hundreds of thousands of dollars on the line. This is where they're going to live. This is where their kids are going to live. There's all these things that go into it. They're going to get stressed and they're going to go back to whatever that core thing is. Okay. So red is power. And when we say power, it doesn't mean they want to take over the world. They probably wouldn't hate that idea, but that's not. Reds just do everything in the lens of basically being a game. When we say power, that's really what Reds do, is they gamify everything and they just look at who's winning and who's losing. That's the way that they view primarily every relationship, okay? So natural talents, leadership, vision. Reds are not typically super detail oriented. They're really more so the people that are like, here's what we're going to do, here's where we're going to go. And not that they're like necessarily terrible at details, but they tend to be more concerned. Have you ever heard the ends justify the means?
Mm-hmm.
That's a red statement, right? They don't really care. Huh?
You can send me out. Do I need to write this down?
I mean, normally.
What color were you? Yes, I'm sending this. All right, so strengths and limitations for Reds. Proactive, decisive, generally pretty responsible, generally good leaders, pragmatic. This is one thing that a lot of people struggle with Reds. Reds, again, they have that the ends justify the means kind of thoughts a lot of times. So they're not worried about breaking a few eggs to get them. And some people that are a little bit more emotional or detail oriented will kind of look at them and just be like, you don't even care about what happened. And they're just like, but look what the result was, right? That's just how they're viewing it. So limitations, they can be arrogant, obsessive, bossy, critical of others. Now, here's the biggest thing when I say critical of others. They will be, but they're harder on themselves than they'll ever let you know. Reds are often critical of others because they require so much out of themselves. They kind of expect everybody else to want to do the same thing. argumentative. Don't argue with the red unless you want to have an argument. Okay. Because here's the thing. Reds also don't really take things terribly personally because, again, they kind of have this gamification of everything. So if you give a red a reason to argue, they will just argue just for the sake of having the argument because now they just want to win. Right? So you really want to avoid starting arguments with reds because they will dig in. Once you've created a person on the other side, now we have that game we talked about, and now I just want to win. And I don't care if you're the person I just met, or my wife, or my kid, you're on the other team, I'm beating you. And then after the game, they'll be super nice to you. Right? Because they don't take it personally, but you don't want to create games with reds unless you want to lose. Okay? Always red. Needs and wants. So reds need to look good technically. Reds are far, far more concerned with being logically correct than how everybody feels about it. Okay? They want to be respected, but they really only care about approval from a small group. They don't really care if everybody likes them. Essentially, if they respect you or if they view that you are somehow adding to their power dynamic, then they want to have your respect. They don't really care if everybody likes them. Okay? So their wants are to hide insecurities tightly. Reds want
or if they'll have that security.
I don't know if I go.
That'd be a good runner. I think because they're feeling validated to address it.
So start there. Yeah, I would start there. I understand why you'd be concerned about that. I want you to feel like you're making a good decision for your family. Okay. Let me ask you a question. Interest rates have been the same for the last 2 years. What do you think? What do you think has happened to home prices?
They've gone up.
Do you know how much? 10. So, which at our average sales price basically means about $60,000 in the last 2 years. So, with interest rates being as high as they've been in the last 15 years and prices still going up 10%, if you wait for another year until interest rates come down, what do you suppose is going to happen in the market?
It's going to be more expensive.
So what would feel more comfortable to you? Would it be buying a house that's maybe a slightly higher payment for the next 12 months and then being able to rebuy it? Or would it be jumping into the market a year from now when instead of getting 1 to 2 offers on houses, now we're getting 10 on each
As a seller or buyer?
Buyer. What would you rather do?
Buy. I would rather go now and refinance later. So I could save money on the.
So it's not that I need to give them specific statistics necessarily.
Yeah, because that'd be for
but it's more so just reframing their.
Oh, the risk taker. Okay.
But it's changing where the risk is, right? And this is just an easy thing because this is just true. But that's the idea. Because I'm just getting them to evaluate where the risk is.
Yeah.
They generally look at the big risk right in front of them, and they don't always look at the ancillary risks, things outside of that decision. I just need to get them to look at it. Because they're detail oriented. So I get what you're saying. Like I'm giving them facts. It's not that blues are devoid of logic. And I think that's sometimes where we get stuck on some of these things. Is like I say reds are logical and blues are emotional. It didn't mean the blues just go out there and they're like, I make 4 sandwiches to get that. It's not what I mean by emotion driven. What I mean is their ultimate decision is driven by the emotion. It doesn't mean that the emotion doesn't come from love. Does that make sense? The difference is reds don't care how they feel about something. They'll make the decision solely based on the logic, which is why they can do things that blues could never do because they don't really care if somebody kind of gets hurt along the way. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Okay.
As long as logically it made sense. I'll give you a good example. Okay. I'm going to tell this story because my wife would second me telling it. That's okay. I'll be in trouble. Probably about 15 years ago, we were going to a movie. And we're like going to be there right on time, which means late by the time you get tickets and everything else, right? So I'm driving. I pull into this little garage. It's Galaxy movie theater. If you guys know where it is, it's down in Sunnytown, right? So I pull into this little garage because there was no parking spots outside. I pull in. Right when I pull in, right to the right, there's an open parking space. So it's got faded blue paint on the bottom, and where there used to be a handicap sign, and I can see that it got cut down, right? So I'm like, perfect. We're right here. We're close to the door. I park. And she goes, you can't park. It's a handicap spot. I'm like, no, it's not. She's like, I saw it on the ground. It's a handicap spot. It's the closest one. You can't park. I'm like, no, it's not. Right? Because I know logically, I did construction and I know how the codes work. For it to be a handicap spot, you have to have the thing on the ground and you have to have a sign that's here. It has to have both, or else it's not legally speaking a parking spot.
Really, Matt?
I'm logically and technically correct. Shut up, we're going to the movie. We didn't go to the movie.
Oh, no.
We had a 20-minute argument about whether this is a handicap feature. So from her perspective, she's not worried about what the code is, right? From her perspective, she saw the blue, and it feels like we're taking the space away from some little old lady that's in a wheelchair. No amount of my logic is going to change her mind on it.
Mhm.
Okay? So who's correct?
The wife. Bad luck. So what? Unfortunately, this open house that I'm about to do, we could not make it. Here's why. So normally when I schedule a open house, what we like to do is our office will send us a handbook, like on email, and then once we selected the property, unless they have any conflict, they had to let us know. So before I was thinking going over there to the property, just set up. It's 2:31 p.m. Normally I like to be there a Friday and set my table up. That way we can have. But when I call this guy to let them know that I want him to put on the MLS that we're doing the open house, so people can know about it in the neighborhood. Obviously, the more exposure they get, the better. And he had one of the worst attitude. So when I call him, I just say, hey, again, I just want to let you know that if you don't mind, put it on the MLS. That way people know about it. I can show you property to other people in the area. And the first thing he say, well, I didn't get an email. Oh, no. The first thing he said, well, I didn't put to the email. And I said, well, normally we send the email. I send the email by Tuesday. And unless you have any conflict, you're supposed to let us know. And the guy went on, like said that he got a lot of email, he doesn't respond. And I said, well, dude, that's on you, because we send you the email as a notification in writing that we do open house. You're supposed to let us know as a courtesy. Like, is like this real estate, like, it get me mad because I already got my chairs, you can see. I got my flyers. I was thinking getting my cameras. I was thinking doing door knocking. So I'm upset right now. Not with open house, but like the way he treat people. Like I don't like when people have that attitude. Like they don't care about you. Like it's another agent. Like just hey, dude, if you're nice, you can let us know. I mean this day when I work, so that way I can have time to schedule other properties in the area. And so I just, my only question is like, what the hell, like you overdo it to your client, and that's how you treat other agents who show the property. Like the house that I'll show you on my post on Facebook is this house. But well, I mean, the good thing, we still have a buyer's appointment today at 7 p.m. I was gonna show you guys door knocking. I like to do door knocking in the evening, like 5. And so I'm gonna have my GoPro camera ready. Sometimes in this business, they are good agents and they're like shitty agent, like this guy. I don't know how he is in the business, and I don't even know how he got that list in the first place, because that kind of behavior I would never wish nobody like who does that. Okay guys, so we were in the office. As you can see, we're about to ready to do the meeting. So before we begin, I'll have my process. So I'm gonna ask the client if we can record the meeting as well, just to give an idea on how to do a consultation, so that way we can see. But he's already here, so we're gonna meet in the office. So and then I'm gonna show you guys the process. Okay. So from your perspective, do you know how was the experience with them doing the process, or you never saw like
Never saw.
Never saw it?
Yeah.
Alright, that's cool, brother. Okay. And then, are you familiar with how the real estate here work in Nevada?
Not really.
Not really. Not really. And are you familiar with the current market condition?
No.
No. Alright, that's cool, cool. Alright. Alright, so normally the way I like to work, I will discover your needs in one, and then educate on the markets and about to compete. With the current rate right now, with the current interest rate, I'm gonna show you, and then we're gonna maximize your buying power. Part of our buyer, the first-time buyer, is having in the better position. That way we can negotiate a better offer and get you the deal you want, and then answer your question, and then at the end we're gonna agree whether you wanna hire me, fire me, and now work together. So I wanna give you a decision. So so here's like the buyer package. So this is like a real estate manual. I will go on TV, but you can watch it yourself. So on your head right now, what kind of property are you thinking about it just before?
Man, a house or the townhome, or even a condo. I'm thinking about all of them.
Townhouse. Okay. So, what will make you happy to have in a townhouse, condo?
Really, either one, whatever the numbers is looking like,
Alright.
and whatever the location is big for me.
The
Wherever
location.
the location that will make me satisfied.
Okay. In a particular room, let's say the money was no issue, you can have everything you want. What would be?
If it's a house, probably like 4-bedroom.
4-bedroom.
Minimum. If it's a condo, 2.
2. Okay.
But it also depends on location.
Yeah. Okay. Locations are very. So locations is
Some
important.
Condos, like if we could find something that's on the strip, the Las Vegas strip's a little different. I'll take a 1-bedroom. Just depends on the location. Townhome, at least three bedrooms or more on a townhome.
Okay. And tell me, what is important for you to be in the Las Vegas Strip?
I just grew up out here, so
Okay.
I like to have something out here to come back to if I end up moving.
So you're familiar with? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. There you go. So, any particular other auction that you like to be on the Las Vegas Street? Party, you know, anything? Lifestyle or just?
No, just this was home for a while, so that's why.
Oh, okay, home for a while, so make you feel safe. Okay. Okay. So, how that's all for now, and then later when I explore how do we put them together and get you the property that fit your need. So typically in Nevada, so part of so Nevada is a friendly state, so they make it easy to buy real estate. Like I said, you can buy anything. I have one of the stronger protection for buyers and sellers at the same time. Everything is digital nowadays. So even though we use paper, everything is now digital. So everything, and then but before you sign anything, I will explain you that way you know, and then you have a copy for your record. So one of the benefits when you hire, say, for me to represent you is I will work for you on the property search, efficient property viewing. I will set the price. Obviously, we want to make sure that whatever price you get is consistent with the area. So we have a software that will analyze the property. That way you don't overpay, but at the same time you get the value for the money in that particular market. Also, negotiations is important. So I work diligently on both sides. So because we don't know exactly how the other side respond. Like sometimes sellers, we don't know if they're gonna be friendly, gonna be hostile, a lot of different things that we don't know. But typical for an inspection. Now, notice like we trying to minimize the cost. Inspection is not required by the Nevada state law, but here's what we recommend. If we don't do an inspection, then it's like buying a car without even touching it.
Right, it's important.
Yeah, so we want to make sure that the property not only fits your need, make sure any hidden costs Right now we have inspectors that have cameras that they can look inside the walls. They have thermal cameras. So that will discover moisture, a lot of sunshine. Folks want to hide defects on the property. Part of the requirement by the state law is that they have to disclose known defect. However, it's an opinion, it's not required. So we didn't know the seller being trustworthy. Some seller like to lie. And like I said, the human eye, you don't know exactly what you're looking for.
Right.
So we use professional that will know. Like sometimes moisture can be planted inside, so they just paint it with paint, and it might look good. But the cameras they have nowadays, they can reveal your moisture. And that way it minimizes your expense because the last thing that you don't want is a property like issue. Right? You already spend your money, I mean, it's a cost of mortgage, then imagine having it there. So it's a pain in the butt, right? So, appraisal, so typical that is hired by the bank, all the community got to relocate because the brick and
I
soil.
heard about that.
Yeah, you said
a
it.
little higher up or something.
Yeah,
They were supposed to do it for a while and they never did it, and then
yeah, and then the county took
I
over.
saw it on the news.
Yeah. So in that case, we don't know exactly what happened, but imagine like for most folks that already spend their hard in cash, the next thing you know, now you lost everything. So
They were older homes.
yeah. And then the 10 years, so after the 10 year, they'll only cover purchase. Now, warranty, you don't have to use it every year, but we recommend it in this summer, especially in Vegas, because the AC, man, is one of those things that if it broke down, then you'll be on your own.